Greetings to all, my name is Grudar and welcome to the very first episode of Grudar's Grand Guide to Heroes of the Storm. In this first episode I will be showing you Abathur, and that's it. Let's start off with Abathur and his abilities. Now Abathur's a pretty special hero, and usually, in this form he's only got 2 abilities and a trait. I'll start with his trait, because it's the easiest. It basically, every 15 seconds it spawns one of these guys, which lasts for 25 seconds. And let's follow it for a moment to see what it does. It does some damage from close range. And they're usually pretty useful to gain experience while not really paying attention to the lane you are standing in or standing near, and just dealing some siege damage in the later game. Now, as a second ability, you've got his W, called Toxic Nest. It's a 3 charge ability. It has a charge cooldown of 10 seconds. It does a bunch of damage. It reveals the enemies for 4 seconds, and they last for 90 seconds. So it has a lot of range. As you can see, I'm standing right here in base and it reaches all the way here with nice little squares. And there's a little glitch with this ability, and you shouldn't abuse this, but you can't really abuse it, but currently there is still a glitch, and I'll show you guys. For example, right here, somewhere, you gotta hold your mouse right here, then press W, even though it says that you can't place one here. If you press W, you can just stack them on top of each other. And that's obviously a pretty important glitch, or bug, but I'm sure that'll be fixed. And in the actual maps, there are only a few locations where you can place those things, and people hardly ever ever pass those locations, so that's not too bad. But next ability is his Q, called Symbiote, with a cooldown of 4 seconds. You can cast Symbiote on another allied unit or structure. I'm gonna show it on this tower here. And then you got 3 different abilities. As you can see, you're still standing there during Symbiote, and you can be damaged or healed or whatever, or stunned, and you still spawn your Locust. So what are the abilities of the Symbiote? Now you've got the Carapace, which is your E, and it's an 8-second shield to block some damage. And it has a cooldown of 12 seconds, which is pretty long, so you'll probably not be able to use it more than once while sitting on Symbiote. Or more than twice, actually. Spike Burst, 6-second cooldown, just deals damage in a short area around, in an okay area around your Symbiote target. Then you have your Q, called Stab, which is a skill shot with a charge cooldown of 3 seconds, and the maximum charges are 2. And it stabs the first target it hits with a little bit of damage. So that's the abilities of Abathur. And let's go to the ultimates. I'll just grab some random stuff. Ultimate Evolution. I'm gonna have to toggle my ally for this. You can use Ultimate Evolution on your ally. It has a 50-second cooldown, and you clone them for 20 seconds. And you gain 20% AP and 20% attack damage and 10% bonus movement speed. But you can't use their heroic. And you can just go around and cast some spells. So usually you want to do this on a high damage hero like Li Ming or Tracer or Kael'thas or Illidan, whatever, whichever you like, because it grants ability power and attack damage. So usually you want to pick this ultimate. The other ultimate, this is okay, Evolve Monstrosity. Now on a large map, like maybe Cursed Hollow, there are occasions where you want to go this. And what it does is, on a 90-second cooldown, you can turn a minion or locust, which is those things you spawn with your passive, into a monstrosity. And monstrosity is a pretty strong creature. And whenever enemy minions near it die, it gains a bunch of health and a bunch of attack damage. Up to 40 times, which means that it gets 200% bonus health and attack damage. Maximum. It also takes less damage from non-heroic sources. So you can symbiote it. So yeah, obviously this you don't need to actually keep controlling it, unlike the other ability. But you can symbiote it by pressing R or pressing Q while looking at it. Like right here, I'm standing right here, and you press R and then you're suddenly on your monstrosity. And you can just move it and use your symbiote's abilities. So you pretty much become the monstrosity. That's it for those talents. So let's get into the good talent builds. I've written some down. You might see me look at this side for a couple times during this video. And the first build I want to talk about is the nest build, or the best build, which isn't really a nest build, it's more like an early nest build. And what you want to go is level 1, you have these choices, and you want to go either Survival Instincts or Envenomed Nests. Now when you go Envenomed Nests, you take Envenomed Nests when stacking them all up, when there's like squishy targets on your team, when they have a Tracer and a Li Ming or something, you usually go Envenomed Nests. Or just something that's squishy, one or more. Usually when there's 2 squishy heroes. Otherwise, you go Survival Instincts, which makes your Locust stronger. And that's gonna be really useful for in the late game. So if you know you're gonna go to the late game, obviously Survival Instincts is the one to pick. So I'm gonna pick Survival Instincts for now. And then level 4 talent. You actually have one choice. I mean, yeah, it depends. You have 2 choices. So you could go either Toxic Nest Charges, which reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds and adds 2 charges. This one's usually better when you've picked the Envenomed Nest talent. And Ballistospores, which increases the range to global and increases the duration by 20%, is usually when you pick the Survival Instincts talent. Obviously, you can also go Adrenal Overload, but that's kind of a different build, so I'll take Ballistospores. Now, also don't underrate Prolific Dispersal when you've picked this talent, because it's really useful for vision when it's a small map. I'm gonna refresh forward forward. When it's like a small map or something, you won't need the global range anyway, so the reduced cooldown is way better. Then on level 7 there's actually 2 talents. Either you go slows enemy movement speed, or you go with the mule. Now the mule, obviously only certain maps like Sky Temple it's really useful. but usually Vile Nests is pretty good, just for basic team fighting and controlling the enemy team reasons. So I'm gonna pick it for now, just to show what a build might look like. And as I've said, on level 10, usually want to go Ultimate Evolution. In really corner cases where you know you can't win a team fight with Ultimate Evolution anyway, you go with Monstrosity. But almost always Ultimate Evolution is gonna be better. Now, level 13, there's only one talent. There's only really one talent, and that's Bombard Strain, which makes your Locusts deal 70% extra damage and have long range basic attack. So I'm gonna show you this one's basic attack, and then there we have it. Way longer, I mean way further, almost out of range of the turrets. They fixed that a couple months ago, and it does way more damage. So that's a great talent on level 13. That's basically the only viable talent with this usual build. On level 16, there's also only one talent you want to go, and that's Locust Bird. What it does is it spawns 3 locusts at a nearby location, so in a pretty large circle around you, I guess. You can just spawn 3 locusts on a cooldown of 45 seconds, and they'll just run down the lane and start destroying things. As you can see with the last talent, this is huge. That's basically the only viable talent in this build that you can take on level 16. Note, again, this is, in my opinion, the best build for Abathur. Then, level 20. This one is bad. Don't go this one. This one is bad. This one is not for this build. Locust Nest. Now, you're gonna see a pattern here. This has the same range, same cooldown, and you just spawn a bunch of locusts that keep running down this lane, smashing things, destroying things. Now, the great thing about Locust Brood is that you can use it in lanes that are pushed, so you can kind of keep let your allies do other stuff while you're clearing out a lane. And what the Locust Nest is also good for is you basically just place it in a lane and then go to another lane for extra XP soaking while your team is in the third lane. So that's basically a simple tactic you can use Locust Nest for. You can also use it to bait enemies into like stepping on stuff. I'll show you, like, place the nest here and then stack all of those toxic nests around it. I mean, you obviously shouldn't use the glitch. That's bad. That's bad. But I mean, it's a tactic. Then that's the first build. That's the nest best build, which is actually more of a Locust build, but who cares. I'm gonna refresh my talents and show you another build I think is pretty good. So what I call this build is the Symbiote build. Now, you usually want to go Survival Instincts again, because it's really useful. However, you also kind of want to go with... What's happening? What's happening? You also kind of want to go with Regenerative Microbes, which heal the target for 68 health per second. And that's really useful. I'll show you for a second. Now, as you can see, it gets healed up as long as the shield is there. Now, when is this talent useful? It's useful when you have something like an Illidan or a Thrall, whatever, something like a melee assassin that or a tank that you wanna heal, because otherwise they die. And again, spike burst range, no toxicness damage, not good with this build. Now on this level there's only really one talent, and that's Adrenal Overload. So go this build only, well, I should have said this before, go this build only when you have auto attack based heroes on your team. Otherwise you shouldn't go this build. That's just how it is. You shouldn't be going this build. And this grants your target 25% attack speed. So use this on a Vala, on an Illidan, on a Thrall, whatever, and grant them a lot more damage. Now, level 7 is a pretty weird talent. So you don't want to go Network Carapace. And again, you want to go Call Down Mule in the same situation as you would in the other situation, like if you're on a Sky Temple or on... well, there's not really that many maps where you could use it. Well, there is kind of a lot of maps where you can use it, so maybe like Battlefield of Eternity or something, you can use it on most maps. And if you don't want to go this, you could go with Needle Spine, which increases the range and damage of the symbiote stab by 20%. And as you can see, it's a lot more range, and it deals a bunch more damage. That's pretty simple. Now on level 10, it's kinda the same. However, Evolve Monstrosity becomes better since you have the Symbiote build. But it's like a 50-50. It's like a 50. Go this when you absolutely need the extra team fighting potential that you can't achieve with your symbiote late game. I mean, go this if you don't want to go late game. Go this if you want to go late game. That's basically the choice. So I'm gonna go with this. I want to go late game, because this one is more useful for team fights, but later on, your symbiote is gonna be good enough to help in team fights, and your monstrosity will just be way more useful. Now, level 13, I mean, yeah. You could go with Soma Transference. Oh man, I'm looking at not even myself. You could go with Soma Transference, which heals the host, but that's usually not really useful, because there's not gonna be a lot of melee heroes on the enemy team. Unless there are, then this is pretty useful. Spatial efficiency. You could go this if you went Needle Spine, but you could also not go this, because it's not that good. This is also pretty bad. But I mean, you could go with the Bombard Strain, which is always a great pick. I'd actually always pick this one. These two are viable, but this one is great. Now on level 16, you basically never want to go this. This is bad. Adrenaline Boost, however, is pretty good, because it gives the movement speed, I mean it grants the target more movement speed. So if we just whoop, and there we go, our Monstrosity has more movement speed, or our Illidan has more movement speed, or our Tracer, and that's just generally useful. Or if you went Bombard Strain, which is almost always the case, you could also go Locust Brood, which is a great talent. And don't go Volatile Mutation. I mean, I would go this only if you need it, like your team needs escapes or something. I don't know. I'd rather go Locust Bird. Now, you don't want to go evolution complete. Because... What? What? Oh. You could go Hive Nest. Or you could go Hive Mind. So if you really want to step off the more symbiote orientated, you could like go with the same talents as the other build on those last levels, but you could also usually go Hive Mind. And what that does is, well, there's obviously no ally nearby, so I'm gonna enable my Malfurion bot. And right here. So this symbiote mimics the exact stuff the first symbiote does, except with 50% less usefulness. Like this gives only half the shield, this only does half the damage, and this only does half the damage. But this is generally really useful for in team fights or to push a lane. It's a really good talent. Now this is just a sample build, you could always go something else, and this build is usually worse than the other build I've shown. But corner cases, this is better. Now I want to show you some talents you should never go. So remember, never go these talents. Which ones? Pressurized glands. Don't go this. Don't. It's not gonna work. It's bad. Don't go this. That's the first one. On level 4 you never want to go Sustained Carapace. Because even though this seems cool... Oh my god, he still has the shield! You usually want the shield to get hit early anyway. So I don't understand why you would care about getting a longer shield and it persisting after the symbiote ended. Because the symbiote has a 4-second cooldown anyway. Because that's just a bad talent. The other ones are acceptable. Level 7, however. Don't go Network Carapace. Don't. I'll toggle the minions. Look. This is cool, right? Except it sucks. I mean, there's the other talents are way better at doing things than giving your minions a bit of shields. So don't go this talent. Don't. On level 10, obviously both talents are okay. Here, never go Assault Strain, because it's never better than Bombard Strain. For the sake of it, I'll show you what it does. So the ones that are gonna spawn out of this one next, you'll see how shitty this actually is. What? Oh, that one's a bit buggy, but that's okay. Let's have a look at how bad it is. Look, it has to go melee. It did nothing. Alright, so you never want to go Envenomed Spikes here. Adrenaline boost is always better. I can't think of a situation where Envenomed Spikes is better than Adrenaline boost. And Volatile Mutation. Don't go Volatile Mutation. It sucks. It sucks. It just doesn't deal enough damage. It's not better than Locust Bird in any way or Adrenaline boost. It sucks. Don't take it. Here. Don't go Evolutionary Link. This is not useful. You have a healer for a reason. They don't need a shield. You just want to deal some damage. While having a Locust Nest somewhere. Monstrosity gains the ability to deep tunnel. Also don't go this. Just don't go the heroic upgrades. I mean, like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. What? You don't wanna deep tunnel. You don't. So that does it for the talents. Now let's get into the... wow, I'm all itchy. Into the maps. Now, I've arranged them in kind of a less good, okay, and I mean less good, medium, and better. So the ones that are in less good is obviously the maps where Abathur is less good than average. The average is where he's average, and the good is where he's better than average. So first of all, Towers of Doom, like Towers of Doom, no. Abathur doesn't work on Towers of Doom. It's like, this is actually a bad map for Abathur. You can't really make a lot of use of the extra XP gain you get as Abathur. Yeah, I'm gonna toggle it all off. And, like, he doesn't care, I mean, he doesn't have a body. He doesn't have a body, which means he can't capture anything. The XP gain doesn't matter because it's a small map. Don't go Abathur on Towers of Doom, unless it's quick match, then unfortunately for you. Then I'm going from worst to best. Keep in mind this is all my opinion. I'm not the best player, but I'm pretty okay. The second map that's below average is Battlefield of Eternity. Now this might be an unpopular opinion, but Battlefield of Eternity is a pretty small map. This obviously, compared to Towers of Doom, this map isn't that bad, but it's below average. Because it's a small map, you won't benefit from XP gain because there's only 2 lanes. There's most likely always gonna be someone in your lane to negate the XP advantage you'd normally get. Then, also you can't really help with the immortals, so that's kind of a suck. Then, Garden of Terror. Now, also, you can't really help with the objective, but the XP gain is a bit better, so that's okay. So that's another below average map. Then average, Haunted Mines. Yes, this map no longer exists in the regular queues, but I'm gonna use it anyway because you can just stack up a bunch of mines in front of the door to the entrance, and when everyone's at the bottom you can just Monstrosity and start destroying their base, grabbing some extra XP. Is pretty okay. This is an average map. And by average I don't mean average compared to all other heroes, I just mean average for Abathur. Then, next in row, Sky Temple. Now you might be wondering, why Sky Temple here? And it's because he doesn't have a body. However, pushing really works a charm in Sky Temple. Like, you can go bot at the start and you can just gain XP while still symbioting people on your own team, and you can gain a lot of experience, you can be useful to your team, but it's average because you don't have the body. Then Infernal Shrines, again, you can't really help a lot with the objective, but the split pushing potential is real. It's kind of the same Sky Temple, except more people move away to grab the objective in Infernal Shrines compared to Haunted Sky Temple, so it's a bit better. Now, next I chose Tomb of the Spider Queen. That's wrong. What? Okay, no, put Tomb of the Spider Queen before Haunted Mines, because he's just average on there. I mean, XP okay, he can kinda help, but he's not extraordinarily useful or useless in any way, so he's average. Put it somewhere between any of those. Then, the above average ones. Yes, Dragon Siren is on this. The simple fact that at the dragon you can do this, and yes, that's a glitch abuse, but so I'm not gonna count that as an advantage. I mean, that's not really glitch abuse, it might be intended, whatever. But you can usually easily disrupt people from capturing the shrines with your extra damage on toxic nests and all that. Or you could just place it on the dragon shrine itself. Obviously this map has no dragon shrine, but whatever. It's generally useful. And then off to Blackheart's Bay. Yes, Blackheart's Bay is also second place. Now, what's happening here? Now, Blackheart's Bay is an interesting one. You can grab so much lost experience as Abathur, and you can do so many good team fights with your ultimate evolution. It's insane. Even you could go evolve Monstrosity and just wreck their base completely. Also, worth mentioning, you can push with your locusts easily. Then, the last one, the one I didn't mention yet, Cursed Hollow. Yes, Cursed Hollow. I believe this is a pretty good map for Abathur, because everyone has to move to the objective. And, I mean, basically everyone. And you can soak lanes, soak 2 lanes at once, kind of, with your Locust and your Symbiote. And just get a bunch of XP advantage, while disrupting the enemy team with your stupid toxic nests. And you can be anywhere with your deep tunnel, so that's the best map for Abathur, hands down. And that's it for the maps. Now a general how to play for a bit. Like, I'm just gonna read this right off the script that I wrote down here. You have to soak XP in one of the outer lanes, usually, like in Cursed Hollow top or bottom, which allows for more movement in your own team, because they don't have to stay in that lane. You should use your W for a bit aggressively for vision in like usual ganking routes, or just where people on their team often seem to come. And because it grants vision. Then your Symbiote is used for teamfight support and more XP soak. Now, what I mean by that is it has multiple purposes. When there's nothing going on really in your team, you can just use your Symbiote somewhere in the lane and soak some XP. When there's a team fight going on, you use your Symbiote, or when there's a fight 1v1 or something, you can use your Symbiote to save the person or help them kill the enemy for just nice stuff. Now, the later game strat with Abathur is to push the lanes hard with your level 13, 16 and 20 talents. If you're using the Symbiote build, you can basically destroy complete forts and keeps with just one locust spawning plus nests. You can just destroy their bases. Ultimate Evolution, always use it on the highest damage output. because then you deal the most damage. That's pretty neat, right? Or you could use it on like an ETC to disrupt the enemy team. That's also useful. And the last tip is don't be afraid to use your Q just for a shield. Because many people are like, no, I don't want a Q because I can help someone else kill someone. But using your Q to shield your ally is usually, and save them obviously, is usually better than to kill an enemy. Because the simple reason that you already have XP advantage if you're playing Abathur. You don't need that extra XP. You gotta save your allies so they can stay alive for longer. And that's a pretty useful advice. Alright, that does it for this episode of Grudar's Grand Guide to Heroes of the Storm. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned a bit from it. I certainly learned something from writing the script. For these videos that are gonna be coming up. I've already written for 2 videos, I believe. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!